Good evening, kids and parents. In the lesson 49 for advanced players, we are going to study the game Mikhail Tile versus Neibult played in 1991. So we have a Sicilian defense that is very popular. Um, and this Sicilian defense is called Mora Gambit. So white is sacrificing a pawn and like I told you before, when we studied the gambits, it is really not free, right? White gets something, right? So let's see, what did we get for this pawn? Well, the diagonals are open. Bishops are very strong here, right? And also the queen. Look at the queen. Queen is opened. Sometimes queen could go to b3 if it's needed, right? So that means when you sacrifice a pawn, it is not free, right? You have to get something. And in those gambits, right now, white has a very strong activity of the pieces. And this gambit is very dangerous. Knight f3, bishop to c4. We notice bishop is targeting the pawn on f7, e6, right? And castling. Pay attention to the way that white develops the pieces. Queen e2, and if you like it, you can play in your own games, right? Now, look, Queen e2, opening a space for a rook to go to d1, right? And rook d1. So this is a setup in the Mora gambit. Bishop f4. So bishop on f4 is targeting the pawn here. The next move is going to be later on rook c1, right? So white has a really very nice development here. Knight e5, attacking the bishop, and bishop moves away. Now, I want to just mention for some of the kids that taking the knight here, like if you capture with a knight, right, that's not really going to help you. Those double pawns, yes, there are double pawns, but the problem is the bishop gets opened, and this is really good for black, right? So those pawns in the center are strong, controlling the center. So don't go for those double pawns, right? Better to move the bishop. And then rook c1. Look at this nice deployment of the white pieces, right? The white pieces are controlling like the lines, like c file is very important here. Queen b8 and knight d4. Now, this position is also good for black. Black is fine. Look, black is still pawn up, right? And of course, computers, they like this position from a black side, right? But it is not easy to play those positions. You know, if you are black, you know, you are under the attack. Castling, bishop to g3, knight d7, and f4, right? And this is the mistake that black made. Black pushed the pawn to e5, and what's happening here is first f5 and d5 squares are quite weak at the moment. Also, the bishop is opened, right? This diagonal is very unpleasant for black. So this is a really strategical mistake. Better move was knight c5, targeting the bishop, because if you can remove the bishop, then the chances to defend yourself here are much better. Now, after e5, knight goes to f5. This knight is very unpleasant here. And rook goes to e8. And now, excellent move, queen c4. Here we are. You have a battery attacking on f7, and black cannot defend it, right? Black had to push the pawn, give the pawn back. Knight takes. Check, king h1. And now the game really kind of starts here, right? So you can see that the back rank is weak, right? Uh, you have this rook that can go to d8. So Mikhail Tal captures the bishop on c5. He likes to sacrifice his queen. Now, of course, if you take, then check, and doesn't matter what you play here. The next move is rook d8 and the checkmate. So the back rank problems. So knight captured the pawn, and this move, rook d5, again the same problem, right? With the back rank, pawn takes, and now check, right? So the combination is happening right now. Very strong move, knight e7, king f8, and the next move is rook d7, removing the knight, so the queen is not attacked anymore. And of course, here you can play bishop e6, and you can play knight c6 and win the queen, right? Discover check, and you are winning the queen. Now, after bishop e6, the game was finished. Black resigned the game, right? There are no good moves here. So let's see what are the most important moves to remember from this game, and how can you apply this kind of opening in your own games. So it is a Sicilian defense. If you like to play d4 immediately, you can. It can be done also if you play knight f3 and then d4 and c3. So that's like a setup. And let's see one more time, how do we develop the pieces here? So we put the knight, look at this bishop, remember the castling, queen e2 is important, and rook d1, right? So that's the setup. And then you have a bishop f4. So try to remember this. Like two bishops are on c4 and f4, knights are in the center, queen e2, and rook d1. And then depends, right? Could be like here, rook c1, but depends on the game. Could be some other moves as well. So that's the setup that you need to remember. Practice this, try to play that in your own games, and you'll see, if you like it. Now, again, the most important mistake in this game is strategical mistake, pawn to e5. That allowed those knights to jump into the center. The diagonal was open, and that's why black lost the game. So e5 is a really big mistake. Okay, kids, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll continue studying Mikhail Tal. I'll choose 3 more games, and then we'll look at some other players. Bye bye. See you.